Maya Melamed. We've worked together for like a gazillion years, right?
Indeed.
For anybody who doesn't know Maya, Maya is the fractional CMO that startups go to when they're going to get shit done. Hey, Maya, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
There's something that we're all having to contend with, and that's actually sort of like FOMO. Like, we can't, it's very difficult for us to make decisions on what to do first because of the fear of missing out. Are we missing out on the right channel? Are we missing out on the right technology? Are we missing out on the right strategy? Right?
So there are so many things when you're the first and sometimes the sole marketeer in a startup, and it's really, really hard to decide where to start and how to move on and how to structure your plan. It's really so hard these days. It's complicated with all these channels and marketing stack, as you said. It's complicated, very confusing.
So, okay. So tell us, where do you start? It's day one of your job with the startup, and you're the only marketer. You've got another one or two people working with you. Where do you start? I mean, like, what do you start doing?
Start with listening, meeting all the stakeholders and listen carefully to what they say. I would go first with the sales lead and the product lead and the CEO. I think that they should be your best friends, your best business partners along this way. So I would start with that. And then looking at the competitive landscape, understand the key players in the market, what they do, how they position themselves. And then I would start with nailing the go-to-market strategy, the positioning, and then to understand, of course, the target audience. And then I would move to messaging. In parallel, I would work on the visual identity if you have something already. So if it's not super embarrassing, you can stay with that. But if not, you should build your visual identity. And then you need to build your website. This will be the most valuable assets for all the marketing efforts. So that would be the first stage.
So I completely agree with you. I would weave in there. So like some companies, obviously you're going to be the first marketer that they've ever had, but often they've done something beforehand. And obviously I would look into what they've done beforehand and what kind of results they had from that. And see if there's any quick wins that can be had from that. Because one thing I think that we all share is the lack of time to prove that we're in the right direction, not even results, to prove that we're in the right direction. So if there's something that's already running, or that they've run in the past, and that you can resuscitate it, improve it a little bit, and sort of like to basically get something going while you're working on the full big plan, I think that helps get management off your back, and to show that you're, getting things underway. But I'm wondering sort of like, okay, so you're in a new position, and what you've just said, absolutely, you can't skip on the go-to-market stage. How long do you usually have before the CEO is expecting to see sort of like the go-to-market strategy, or at least the draft version of it, so he can say, yeah, this is a good direction, or no, you must be kidding?
Usually they want to see a pipeline of 3 million ARR within the first quarter. So they don't have...
but that's really not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And I think you must master stakeholder management because they expect so much. And I think that all the CEOs in early stage startups, they underestimate the effort of marketing. They think that, especially today with ChatGPT and all these AI tools, they think that this is nothing and you just can generate whatever needed within no time and just get everything done. And they don't have the understanding of all the complexity behind marketing. So I think it's the same. And a lot of times I had these cases where CEOs told me, okay, just let's skip the go-to-market strategy. I know the target audience. I'll tell you who the key players are. I know the yeah, indeed. So you can't skip it. And I think it's really important to go through this process with the management team and make sure everyone is aligned and you're on the same page, and then you can move on. I would say if you have great collaboration from the management team, so you can nail it within a month.
All right, so we've got the go-to-market strategy. Let's say it's been approved by management. How do you decide as part of that which channels you're going to be focusing on first? What are the realistic KPIs even before the channels? Like, what are the realistic KPIs for that? I mean, how do you go about that? I mean, there is, again, FOMO, so many options. Do I go through the ABM route? Do I not go through the ABM route? How much do I put on paid campaigns versus how much do I put on events? Like, talk to me through the thought process here.
So at the beginning, I would start with the objectives and the budget. You need to understand the objectives, and again, to make sure it's realistic and no one really expects to get the pipeline stuffed with new ARR at the first view. And then you need to understand the budget and align your OKRs with the budget. And once this is aligned, you need to think on your short-term goals and your long-term. You need to start investing in content. Like, this is the fundamentals for everything.
No content, no campaigns. You can't do anything without content.
Indeed. So you need to start with content, and you need to start with SEO and understanding your competitive landscape, what they do with content, with social media, and so on. And when it comes to paid advertising, as you said, there are so many channels, and it really takes time to test and understand what are the best channels for you. And I think something in addition, you need to understand and you need to be honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses, and you need to make a decision. You have so many aspects in marketing. You have product marketing, and you have content and creative and operations and analytic, performance, inbound, outbound. So you need to know what you're good at and make a decision whether you want to hire someone in-house or an agency to manage the other aspects of marketing.
You've covered a lot of ground. And I think that, as we mentioned earlier on, often the teams are either a single person marketer in the team, or you've got a very small team. And I haven't met one marketer yet, again, that hasn't been inundated with a number of requests. It's like with the food comes the appetite. They see that we've got a marketing on board or marketer on board, and they're like, yes, let's do this, and let's do this, and let's do this, and let's do this, and let's just do this event, and let's just run this campaign, and let's just speak to this client, and let's just do this analyst call, and you want to do it all because you're, superwoman. We're superwomen. We want to believe that we're superwomen, at least. But we actually know that even if we are superwomen, we can get a lot of stuff done. Going in too many directions means that we're losing focus. So how do you go about stopping that? How do you stop losing focus?
First, I would say that every time that someone starts with me with just, every sentence that starts with
that
just,
word, just. Oh yes,
just one event in Vegas and just 2 events in Europe, and then we'll do everything else.
Oh God, that word.
I told them, like, if you add just at the beginning of the sentence, it doesn't make it easier. It won't reduce the timeline and the effort and the budget. So you should not lose focus. And at the beginning, when you do stuff hands-on and you get your hands dirty, sometimes it's really hard to stay focused, and you lose sight of the big picture. So I would always start with OKRs. In some cases, it's a bit of overhead, but I think at the beginning, if you do it the right way and then you just maintain it, it's gonna keep you on track and focused, so you know where you're going and what your goals for the next quarter. So I think this is very important. And then usually I manage the marketing, like I learn from the best product leaders, and I had a lot of interaction with product leaders when I worked at Craft.io, so I learned a lot. And they manage the product in sprints. So I manage the marketing the same in like 2-week sprints. And I think it structured everything in a much better way. And also it allows you to deliver at a very good pace. Okay. You know what you can do in 2 weeks, and you optimize along the way. Like if you set a sprint with a lot of stuff and you see that you can make it, so you're more aware of your resources and what you can achieve in 2-week sprint. And also you need to,
That's a good idea.
yeah, it's so helpful. And also
Yep.
I look at my sprint and all the tasks that I scheduled for myself for the next 2 weeks, and then I prioritize. And I want to keep it simple. And so usually I would prioritize based on reach and impact, everything I do, and everything should be linked to an OKR. If I have a task on my sprint that is not linked to an OKR, it shouldn't be there. Everything
Wow.
must support,
Brutal.
yeah, it must support the objectives that I have for this quarter. Because if I'm going to be busy with all these requests, just fix this and fix this tiny button on this landing page that no one will visit never ever again. So
Yeah.
it's time that I can allocate for more significant things that I need to
And you
do.
can also show it to whoever's asking you, right? So if the VP sales is asking you for that, to attend that one more event in Vegas, you can say, this isn't part of the OKRs that I'm working towards. And it's
Indeed.
not just, I don't feel like it, or I don't like you, or no. It's, so you don't become the Mrs. No-No. It's literally giving the rationale as to why you're not doing something. And it's a lot easier then to get also buy-in from, let's say, the CEO, who's going to have to decide whether, the VP sales gets to go to Vegas or whether the marketing gets to focus on what they've been tasked with doing. I think it makes it a lot more objective and a lot fairer, to be honest.
Right.
It's a really good
And
idea.
then you can always have usually in the meeting, the management meetings, I show them the next sprints, let's say next 2 sprints. And then if they come and say, we have this amazing event and we must attend, I say, okay, let's look at our prioritization. If this is the top priority right now, just let me know which task I should postpone to another sprint. And
Maya,
yeah.
I could carry on talking to you literally for hours. And we will, because that's what we do. But obviously not on this video, because people will just like snore and it would be bad. So thank you so much for chatting with me about this. Hope we've helped a ton of marketers out there who are feeling the FOMO and feeling the stress of what they should be focusing on and where they should be spending their hard-earned budget. And of course, if you need to reach out to me or to Maya for further encouragement, please do.
Thanks so much
Maya.
for having me. It's been a pleasure.